What's up, everybody? And today we're checking out United Kingdom versus India Military Power 2024. We did watch like a 2023 one a while back, but this is a 2024 one. Let's see what the military power is going to shift like, and I've got some opinions on this. But before we get started, if you haven't already, check out Chug, 10% off, link down below. This is the channel sponsor. It's absolutely amazing, handcrafted, amazing drinking vessel. If you want to support a small business here in the UK, 10% off, link down below. I cannot recommend them enough. Really can't. There's a reason why this has been a channel sponsor for so long. Go and check them out. Other than that, this is by Gravity. I will leave a link down below to the original video. Please go over to the original video, give it some love and all that good stuff. But for now, let's watch this and let's see what's going on. Now, there's going to be just music on this, so I'm going to turn it down. In my opinion, the UK has been dwindling while India has been growing. Now, a lot of people, including myself, have been saying that India is growing and growing and growing. But the truth is, they're not really growing. They're recovering, aren't they, from what Britain did to them in the past. Now, here we go. Submarines, they've already got more. I do want to preface this. I've said this quite a few times on these videos. We don't know the exact number for subs. It says the UK has 10, but the truth is we don't know how many the UK has, and it's probably about 15, 16, in my opinion. There's probably some there that we don't know about. All right, here we go with the rest of the Navy, most likely. The United Kingdom has 117, while India has, by the looks of it, a lot more. Now, we can talk all about quality over quantity. We do know, and I'm not being biased here, we do know that British soldiers are some of, if not the best trained in the world. With that being said, 294, you can sometimes still overwhelm, right? You can still overwhelm double the Navy fleet India has right here. Aircraft carriers. We do also know for aircraft carriers, the UK has 2 of them. We know that the India, I think, has 2, but they are making more. I think there's 2 more in development as far as I'm aware. So they're going to double that. It's a draw here, but I'm pretty sure India's going to be doubling this over the next couple of years. And you can keep an eye out for that if you haven't already. All right, land-based stuff here. This is probably aircraft, I don't know, logistics aircraft, right, of some sort. We've got 31. Let's have a look at India here. We have a lot. 264. Now, what's this categorized as? Transport aircraft, yeah. Yeah. You have to also remember Britain is part of NATO, and so if they ever went to war, they would also have all the other NATO countries involved. Whether you believe that that's a substantial argument as to why the UK doesn't have as much doesn't really matter. In my opinion, if it was a 1-for-1, this would be a quite interesting battle between the two, wouldn't it? 606 aircraft. This is fighter aircraft, so nearly 6 times more, which is crazy. Let's have a look here. We've got 664. This might be just this might be Air Force in general, this as a whole. So let's see. You have to be very impressed with the swiftness of the recovery that India has done here. 2,296 total aircraft. The speed at which they've recovered is crazy, isn't it? Helicopters here. I'm wondering what type of helicopter this is going to be. India with 40. This is the first one, by the looks of it, where Britain has more of them. By the looks of it. And it's not many more at 52. And these are attack helicopters. Again, the UK is part of NATO. And so these numbers are all well and good. But if the UK ever did go to war, they would just recruit the rest of NATO. And then all of a sudden, you've got America, you've got Europe. It's a lot different at that point. But if NATO ever failed, That's when these numbers really play into effect. Now, we can talk about quantity and quality and the difference of them. But in truth, when you got so many more, it doesn't matter what the quality of the soldiers are. Like, look at that, 869 helicopters. So you're talking over double there again. We're going to get onto troops here. Vehicles, okay. What's this? Surface-to-air missiles? Is that what this is going to be? Not really sure what this is going to be. United Kingdom with 41 of these, whatever they are. There must be some sort of surface-to-air missiles, I'm guessing. Ballistic. Not ballistic. Maybe. Certainly not intercontinental. 702. Multiple launch rocket systems. So just launch systems in general. Which the India has a massive, massive advantage in the majority of this here. Let's have a look here. 126 for the UK. What are we doing here? Let's have a look. Holy Christ almighty. 3,243. The difference in towed artillery. Wow. Luckily, India and the UK still has a relatively good relationship. 213 tank. Is this just going to be generic tanks? Is that what this is? I'm presuming it is, but we'll see. Jesus. 4,614. 20 times more tanks. My God. Okay, this must be intercontinental. I can never say it. Ballistic missiles. The big ones, the big daddies. Not the nukes, but they're big. 64 for the UK. My guess is India probably have a few hundred, as far as I'm aware, from the last numbers. 400? 400 plus? Oh, 66? I thought it was way more for ballistic missiles. I thought it was way more. That's shocked me. We're going to do nukes next. Yeah, here we go. This is nukes. We know the UK has quite the armory of nukes. 172 from India. Whereas the UK has... Let's have a look here. It's like 180 in it or something like that. 225. Wow. A lot more than I thought for nuclear bombs. A lot more than I thought. Although that's relatively even there. Well, one difference in a nuke is a massive difference in it, let's be honest. All right, we've got foot soldiers here. Woo, that's a lot of people. That is a lot of people. The United Kingdom with 924,000 troops. India's probably going to be double that. Let's have a look here. Good God. I'm having a seizure looking at that. 1.155 million. Whoo. Whoo. That's reserves. Good God. That's just the reserves. So this is your regular soldiers. This is the regular ones. The truth is, the biggest threat to India is probably China being right on the border. And honestly, if it ever kicked off between China and India, I have a very good feeling. And I know I've got quite a big Indian audience. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. But I bet if China kicked off with India and a war broke out between the two, I think the UK would help. I think the UK would help India quite a lot. And I think they would genuinely get involved and help you guys out. 1.455550 million troops. That must be the whole of the ground forces in general. I'd love to see like, oh, you can't do it, can you, with real numbers? But I'd love to see like SF and stuff like that. The truth is, you can't see the real numbers of that stuff. Luckily, for the UK in this instance, we are allies, which is very good. India has always been in that gray area where they don't really side with anyone, which in my opinion is good on them for doing that. With that being said, I think the biggest threat to India is China, and the biggest threat to the UK is Russia and China. And I think if it ever kicks off with China, with India, I think the UK would help. There's too much of a relationship between the two countries. Now, I know there's a dark past with Britain and India, but in the modern day sense, it seems like there's almost it's not the same, but almost like how the UK and the US fought against each other and hated each other for the longest time, and now they have this incredibly special relationship between the two countries. It's almost as if the same thing's developing between India and the UK. You see it quite a lot where there's a lot of people who support both countries, and it's beautiful in its way, right? It's beautiful that out of something so dark and sinister, which is the past of the UK and Britain in India, that something potentially brighter can come out of it. Does that make sense? Good on India for recovering after such a horrible thing that Britain did to it. The amount of people they've got back in the military at that speed is quite astonishing, and it does make you wonder what's going to happen in the future for India. I will leave a link down below to Gravity and their incredible video if you haven't seen it already, or if you want to go check it out yourself, link down below. And also, go check out Chug, the channel sponsor. If you want to look like an absolute legend while drinking your drink, you should go and do that. Link down below, 10% off. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video. I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.